So the whole process of meditation, it's mainly for the alignment of spiritual values. Yeah, you could read all the books you want, and you can try and figure out what is right or wrong. Yeah, but it's already built inside of us, and it expresses through our soul, and it already has the ability to reach our actions, to become part of our actions. Yeah, and there's a symptomatic quality behind realizing whether or not that's taking place. Yeah, and if you have problems in day-to-day reality, and what things you are doing, whether you're washing dishes or you're doing whatever you're doing, yeah, if a process comes up and you're upset about it, yeah, simply because you have to do it or whatever reason, yeah, that is an action that's having a direct reflection to the quality of emotional expression, and it's a process of a lack of soulful action. Yeah, because while you're in your activity, the symptom of soulful activity is a lot of emptiness. Yeah, you're just doing it. Yeah, you're just putting your clothes on, you're just taking a shower, you're just brushing your teeth. It's done and over with. There's not a lot of thinking. There's not a lot of much of anything. And those things actually become a process of how you change glamour in the world by your actions. The actions that you do every day, your choices, not a linear side of things, it is the actual side of things. The actuality of your actions. Yeah. So no matter what it is, yeah, the expression of the soul is to impress upon the physical world in activity the light of love. Yeah? And that light of love is loving life, loving whatever you're doing. Yeah? And not just, like, Yahoo, I'm in the grace of God, hallelujah, constantly Jesus, thank you, that's really not normal. Yeah, that could be something else. Yeah, that's not that empty. Yeah, and it could be covering up, things that you're really not just enjoying life. You're not just doing it. And just getting through it. So every action creates a reaction. There is no such thing as an empty effect of the human reality. We all have enormous action. Every action has a direct effect on the causal reality of humanity, on the whole causal reality of humanity. So we either put imperil into it, and we become unaware of the revelation of the causal reality of humanity and how it is working out. And the little things, even where you're at, the car you're driving, how you're getting from one place to the next, you could sit there going, how long, how far? This is boring. I hate driving, these hills are terrible, finding negativity and fault, and, your mind just drives you crazy, because it's actually an activity, and it is a part of life, but the activity is not being accepted, It's not part of you. It's being expressed through you. You are on the boat, you are in the plane, you are traveling, you are where you're at doing what you're doing, but the process is that your mind is not expressing the soulful reality of the revelation of the fact of all the currents of opportunities and circumstances. God has put you in this car, sitting in that seat, or washing those dishes, or cleaning your closet, or whatever you're doing. Yeah, God's that's your activity. That's what you're doing. That's your activity of what you do. So to me, that is Kriya Yoga. That is the process of our ability to change the glamours in the world, is to become aware of these symptoms, yeah? And when at any time those symptoms come up, don't think, oh, I'm the most unsoulful person on the planet. I have no integrity whatsoever. I cannot control my mind. It's not about controlling your mind. Yeah, you can't control your mind. Yeah, but what you need to do is just try and take a look at it later. Yeah, let yourself at least see that process took place, and don't blame it on anything. Don't blame it on if I had a screw to put it in the door, I would have been happier. Your reaction is the problem. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you got a screw or you don't have a screw. It doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah. But your reaction to the action is the problem. Yeah, so it's a symptom. If it comes up, just know that it's part of a historical reality of the collective consciousness of humanity, of being enslaved and tortured and tormented and being poor and being in struggling scenarios throughout history. And that it is part of your collective consciousness and past activity that was brought into your life. And it wasn't that you were evil or wrong, it's just that that's the way life was. And life is not a whole heck of a lot better. Yeah? Yeah, we may have cell phones and everything, but how are we going to cure poverty? How are we going to cure these problems? I mean, you can go depressed like that, because it's not all worked out. It's not in an ideal situation. Yeah. But how we do work it out is the fact that this is an ashram, and everything evolves upward. Yeah. And we have to let it in. We have to let the soul in. We have to let monadic expression, the reality that God exists. And if you're having a hard time not having a screw, yeah, it's simply because you are not in right relationship to God. And you need to chill, calm down, yeah? And as the symptoms come up, just let it be seen later, not at that time, yeah, but later, yeah. And that's what meditation helps with. That's what the tools help with. That's what, doing pujas or things like that, because it brings you to an alternative state of consciousness that allows you to see and think positive spiritual thoughts, yeah. And that transforms the transgression of those activities. So it literally helps to transmute them during the process of your meditation, during the process of, when you do things in your activities and you find that you're enjoying yourself, that's actually forgiving yourself from the transgressions of not enjoying yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah? So you gotta see them both. Yeah? You can't just, think, oh, I'm just, only remember the bad times. Yeah? You gotta realize the fact that you're really, really enjoying what's going on in the moment. And the more you do that, the more you'll be led by God into circumstances and situations that will work out a plan for you and the place that you have in that plan with God. And your house, your circumstances, your living conditions, things that you're in, things that you've made up that aren't real, yeah, that are impressed upon your life because you just simply have been so tortured throughout life, and there's a long healing process in that. Yeah, that process gets worked out if you apply meditation, if you apply soul therapy, if you work with the weavers, if you do things that are actually bringing this monadic energy into your consciousness and manifest it into your physical world. It will forgive the past. Because everything is made up from the past. Every single thing is made up from the past. And you cannot figure out what it is in the past that went wrong. Did I do something wrong? Did people do something wrong against me? It's not in this life. There are so many other lives, so many other layers that are involved. So our process as meditators or people who are wanting to make a change in the process of our spirituality is the fact that we just need to look at the symptoms of how we're dealing with our activities. Yeah? And if we have good outcome constantly, we're doing great. Yeah? But if we get into a little bickering between people and find fault in another person and want to fix that person, and start organizing that person's life, there's a problem there. Yeah. And you need to chill out, and you need to come to some place where you realize, what was I doing? That's not right. I shouldn't have done something like that, and I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. That's when the impression of the soul comes in and works out the ability for you to forgive yourself. Yeah. It's not a lashing or a bad karma thing. It literally is awareness and revelation. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. It is an empowering process of ourselves to be able to enjoy our life and come to some satisfaction of living in a life. Yeah. It's empowering. It's important. Yeah. We can't just get through this thing thinking that the bomb's going to drop any minute. It's doomsday, the apocalypse passed, but then there's another. It's got to stop. We got to realize that we have the power to fix everything, and that it's all right in front of us all the time. It's our activities. Yeah? And do we love what we're doing? Are we calm? Are we having a good time? Yeah? Can we relax? Can we smell the flower? Yeah? Can we not control other people? Yeah? Because when you're in the process of controlling other people and circumstances, you're actually pulling a web into the influence of life. And that has nothing to do with the monad. Yeah? It's the lower mind of distrust of other people, distrust of the ongoing process of activities, and that it's just so freaked out that it has to have control over it in order to make the mind think that it's going to work out. Yeah? But when God does things by an impression of overshadowing from the future of things that are already worked out. Yeah? So the more you are in an impressive process of taking it easy, yeah, enjoying your daily activities, the more you have the ability, and as an individual, the more you have the ability to radiate out into other people's lives, and they actually get their shit together without you having to go through time in, time out, let's do this, let's not do that, why'd you do that, what's this all about, try it this way, God does that. That's God's job. Yeah, it's not like, just blind faith, but there is a revelation in the process of actually seeing people get their shit together. And they're doing what you have in your heart. And you can comment a little, you can make a little suggestion as a friend, as a loved one. Make those suggestions, but don't be personally attached to the outcome of controlling those processes. Because it's just all about you, and you haven't forgiven yourself. And you're still freaked out. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. So day to day, the whole process is to calm down, and let it happen, but allow yourself to be a self-realized being who's able to look at what has happened and change that process to not do it again. And you'll do it. It will work every time. Yeah. And everybody else will grow. And we'll not have nuclear fission. We will not have nuclear wars. We will not have, the process of cultural demise toward the planet Earth. We will not have terrorism taking over. These things won't happen. Yeah? All the things that are horrible that could happen and are happening will begin to fade away. Just like the 20s faded into the 60s. Yeah? We think it's all everything. 1920s, it's everything. Wow, this is it. This is the way it is. It's all this, always, Hey, the mafia is going to go sooner or later, Dark Lodge is going to not be in charge of the police and not be in charge of the military and not be in charge of politics, not be kings and queens in charge of all the money in the world, not be the banks ruling the world. And the more that we can use meditation and our activities and build ourselves toward right relationship in those activities by staying calm, the more we can transmit and transmute and transfigure the energy of forgiveness, yeah, by forgiving ourselves. We don't have to forgive anybody else, yeah, because what's it matter, you know? They got to live with themselves, yeah? Yeah. The earth is turning spiritual, and we're actually coming to a place to where we're able to come into that spirituality without it being a dogma. You know, saying that I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Christian, or I'm this or that. You're just going to find that you are a good person, yeah? And you can make other people who are not good, good, yeah? And that's the law of love, and that's the outcome.